Yes or no? It's just a question. I'm not harassing you. I'm not selling you. I'm not just a question. My team's having a competition. Our company's having a competition. My coach told me, ask 10 people today, see if you can find somebody that needs help. Why don't you have a will or a trust? Just out of curiosity. I don't think it's important. Listen, I'm Italian. Italians are nuts. Italians think if they get a will, they're going to die. Italians think if they go to the dentist, he's going to find a cavity. We're nuts. So I know that because I asked my family about it. And my personal family is, hey, this is when I was learning this and teaching it. Did you ever update your will or your trust? Because you never gave me any information about it. Oh, I'm not getting that. I'm not getting that. Why? I got plenty of time. No, no, no. You need to get your will and trust updated because I'm not going to deal with the leftovers, the wake, pun intended, of what you leave behind. We'll get it. We'll get it. Well, eventually I said, you know what? If you don't get it, you're getting cremated. I'm burning you. Oh my gosh, you can't do that. You can't do. No, I am. I'm going to burn you and put you in a bucket, not even a nice urn. You're going to go in a bucket in the garage. They all got their wills. They all got the wills. I'm not saying you can use that with your family, but Frankie, my point is, if you ask 10 people today, curiosity, have fun, grab out the clipboard, take a survey. When did you update your will and trust? You're going to find people that don't have one. Out of curiosity, why is that important or not important to you? And they'll tell you. So if I had a friend that helps families with their will and trust, would it make sense to talk to that guy? Just a conversation. I guarantee you, you're going to get at least one, if not a half a dozen. So when we say, I don't have people like that, I believe you do. But until you come across somebody like this sharing a different perspective, you might not have thought of that way. So what I say is, if it is that important for you to establish a partnership with a probate attorney, it would be beneficial for you to show up with a client for him, with an opportunity for him. And I always do the role reversal. Ladies, think of it, reverse the role. If a probate attorney called you and said, Frankie, I have some people that died this year. They need to sell their house. Can you come and evaluate the house? I have to imagine some of you would jump out of your chair to take care of that sale. So if you would, he would, or she would. It's the same thing. Always reverse the role. Always. And realize that I would like to be that beneficiary. Well, then you also want to make sure that you are contributing. And the easy way to do it is to just take a survey. I'm telling you, it's that easy. It's that simple. Questions or thoughts about the survey? You don't have to give me $100 if I win, Frankie. I'm just telling everybody, like, that's how confident I am that that will work for you, because it has worked for me. Hearing other people's experiences. Hope. Hearing other people's experiences. That's my experience. I'm not the social media guru. I am the linguistics guy. I am the guy that catches what comes out of your mouth. I'm the guy that perfects your performance. I'm the guy that says you have what you think you don't have. I'm the guy that says successful people do what unsuccessful people talk about.
Good morning, Paul. I have a question.
Hi, darling. Good morning. Good morning. What's cooking?
I have a lunch meeting set up to meet with a lady that is very high up in the League for the Blind here locally.
Okay.
I was wondering how to bring about. I mean, obviously, I know what the need is for a partnership, and even more than that, like I just need to know how to change my language to create the buzz that we are trying to create with her specifically.
Tell me what it is that you're trying to create with her first. I need to know from you what your thought process is.
So I know that there is a huge um void for people to be able to serve the blind in a lot of, I mean, really any circumstance, but especially in a real estate situation. I have only spoken with one other realtor in the 4 years that I've been licensed that has helped hands-on a person with a blind disability purchase a house. And quite frankly, like, I've never really thought about that until I spoke with that agent. And now, like, I'm really interested in it, because how do you describe a house to somebody that's blind? Like, again, there's just a big void. So I wanted to at least sit down and have a conversation with her to hear more about what her demographics needs and how we could help them, because again, like, there's just a huge void.
Wow, that is absolutely brilliant. So let's look at this. Let me take the emotion and the human factor out of this for a second. Is there a big enough market for you to make money in that? And remember, I said take the emotion out for a second, the human aspect out for a second. And I say that because there are some people that are doing a magnificent job volunteering their time. I would never want to take that away from anybody or profess to take that away from anybody. If you're doing it for those reasons, if you're doing it to make money, you are doing the volunteer work to make money, then we have to take a look at the time invested and create a return. My question to you is, when I'm speaking with this woman, I would want to know, number one, the amount of clients she has, how does she get them, and what type of market do we have? Because in my community, I don't even know if there is a blind person that lives in the entire town. I have no idea
Right.
because I'm not paying any attention. But like you're doing now, Heather, think about this. I say it jokingly, but seriously, we never pay attention until something's brought to our attention. Now you'll start to identify how many different blind people there are, or visually impaired people, or whatever they call it. So think about that for a second. If you're doing it for the purposes of your heart, wants to help people that are blind, absolutely incredible. I love all of that. If you're doing it with the pure intention of making money, we got to find out the data. The data. How many people does she serve in our community? How many of those people want to buy a home? How many of those people have bought a home? Get very detailed. Remember, it's not the beach, it's the grain of sand. It's not
Right.
asking for the referral. That's a mistake. It's speaking specifically of that need. The more specific our request, the more specific our response, our requirement in return from that person. That's what I'd want to know. I don't even know how, honestly. Nobody's ever come to me with this in 20 plus years. So you might be onto something if there's enough of a market. My point is this: I don't even know who her professional partnerships are. I don't know who her alliances are. It's quite clear her clients are the blind or visually impaired. I get that, but how do I get a hold of those people? I know I must have them somewhere. I'm just not sure where to look. Oh, I get my business from, she'll tell you.
Okay.
Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
I just I was trying to take some of the, the mental, I can't even think right now. I'm having a Monday. But anyways, I was trying to think of all the people that are trying to age in home. And it's not just an age situation. There's other people with other disabilities that are trying to stay in their home as well. And I know that, like, here locally there are, like, I don't want to call them group homes, but essentially they are a group of people with disabilities that share a house, and there are different corporations that run those, and it's a fabulous opportunity. However, I know that a lot of those come down to, I've been in home health care, so being in those houses myself as an aide for some of those people, like, they really just want to be on their own, but
Yeah.
can't necessarily do that. So I'm just, again, I'm still at the very beginning stages of exploring, like, where I want to go and how in depth with my niche. But if I can at least still be a connector for these people, then it's still an opportunity. And that's why I wanted to
Well,
ask. That it was good,
so
great feedback, because that's a good, I didn't even know how to have a conversation with her about it.
yeah, that's where I would start. And I love everything you're saying and talking about. Remember, when you go on that appointment, you're going with your bot. Gang, I'm not a subscriber, nor do I believe in, vision boards. I think they should be called vision bots. That's what I believe because of my experience with them. The point I'm making here for Heather, when she goes on that appointment, I know a little bit about Heather so far, but here's my thought process. When I'm meeting with that particular professional, a couple of questions I'd want to know. She has a building that she works in that has internet. She has a home that she lives in that has internet. Why would that be important to Heather? Because one of Heather's clients sells internet services for a living. That's his job. She's helping him buy a home. So she's now walking into this appointment servicing her client that she's turning into a partner. That's number one. Number two, over 95% of business owners do not have any form of succession planning. In other words, who's helping in the business if the owner gets hurt? Who's stepping in and doing payroll? Who takes care of customer service? Who's taking care of the books and the ledger? Who's taking care of the marketing? Over 95%. How do I know that? I talked to the attorneys and the financial advisors that help business owners. They gave me the statistic. Over 95% of business owners have no succession planning. That's a question I'd be asking that person. So when Heather says she's going into this with the right mindset, she's open and receptive. My thoughts again, who are you serving? Your book. Where's the business coming from? I know I'm bringing my partners with me, internet services. I'm not saying she's selling internet services, like, give me your bill, I'm going to analyze it for you. I'm saying going into this with your board of directors, because if you want your client who sells internet services to go into all of his clients' homes today, bringing you with him, you've got to bring him with you. So the next time he asks the client, oh, your contract's almost up. Are you selling or are you staying? And they say, yeah, we're getting ready to sell. That's why we didn't renew our contract. I got a great agent. She helps all of our clients. I'd love to introduce you to her. If you want your client to bring you on his appointments, you've got to bring him on your appointments. So that appointment that you're going on might not be for you directly, but if it supports your bod supports you. So indirectly, it does support you. Now, if you can contribute to the visually impaired community, and I know from my mother-in-law, she can barely see anymore. She's 86 years old. One eye's shot altogether. The other one, she has half vision in. If she didn't have her husband to help her around the house, she'd have a difficult time. So what is that senior doing? That single senior, the widowed senior that is visually impaired. Heather, I think it's awesome. It's a really unique way to explore this. I'd love to hear the result of this, but keep in mind, book sources, bring your team with you and see how you can provide other services and find out what professionals bring her business. See how you can participate in putting all that together, because you want to go from being a connector to a collector.
Okay.
It's good to be a connector. It's better to be a collector. You can do both at the same time. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Nope, I was just saying thank you. And then the other one that I had come across just in conversation with a client this weekend, she was actually meeting me after she had met like her Medicaid provider. So I, of course, asked for that referral as well. So this week I need to make a phone call.
Yeah, that's absolutely excellent. Dan, you're good. I don't want a referral. I want a client. I don't want a referral. I want a client. You don't get paid for referrals. Drop the word. I don't understand. Why do you want a
Okay.
referral?
Well, no, it was my client, and she had was speaking with her, and I was like, I just wanted to know who was she speaking with that was helping her with her Medicaid, because I obviously come across a bunch of people that, have an opportunity to have it reviewed or what have you, and I didn't know anybody that does that yet. And she was like, "Oh, I'd love to
Absolutely.
give you my lady."
Absolutely perfect. So, Heather, think about this. The woman that helped you with your Medicaid, all your health needs, you love her. She's fantastic. She's wonderful. Oh my goodness. I need you to introduce me to her, because I work with other seniors like you that need someone they can rely on with those Medicaid questions. I would love to bring her more clients. Could you introduce me to her now?
Awesome. Yep. Mine wasn't as smooth as that, Paul, but
It's all right. You're doing a great
I'll
job.
get there.
Absolutely
I'll
great
get
job.
there.
Yeah, so Head, we talked about this before. You've got all the puzzle pieces. They're all on the counter. Some people have a 4-piece puzzle set. Some people have a 1,000-piece puzzle set. You just need somebody to help you put the pieces together. You've already got it all, darling. You've got it all. We're just sitting and we're putting the pieces together. You're doing a great job. Love the thought process. Absolutely
Thank you.
fantastic. Let me share this with you guys. This happened to me on Friday. I was going to come back and spend a lot more time talking about what we should have implemented from what you learned on Friday because of Kelly Anderson's board of directors call on Thursday. So deviating that from a second, because this happened on Friday morning, I get a call, and this is important for all of you. I get a call at 10:45 a.m. from a client I helped 3 years ago buy their home. I did the mortgage for her. She said, Paul, my sister needs you. I'm like, what's the matter? Haven't talked to you in a while. How's your family? Everybody's great, wonderful, blah, blah, blah. Here, let me get my sister on the phone. She's supposed to make settlement at 1 o'clock today. The lender called her at 10:30 and told her her loan isn't cleared. They can't close. She's hysterical. She already gave the landlord notice. The truck is packed. She was getting ready to drive the settlement. At 10:30, got the call. You're not closing. She patches her sister in. We have a 1-hour conversation. I learned everything about what's going on. The other lender was so grossly incompetent, it's scary. Scary. However, both realtors had no idea. Title company had no idea. Literally at 10:30, the underwriter told the loan officer, "You've not cleared the conditions I requested. The loan is not cleared. We cannot close. These conditions are not something that can be acquired. We're not accepting that." I want to teach all of you this for a second. You're all real estate agents. You are all listing agents. You are all buyer's agents. I'm going to encourage you to ask for what's called the AUS approval or DU. What that stands for is Automated Underwriting System, AUS, or DU, Desktop Underwriting. Neither realtor asked for that. Neither realtor ever got it because it was never given, because it was never generated. What that means is this: when your buyer gets approved, it has to go through what's called automated underwriting. It's an automatic system. This isn't like what it was 20 years ago when a human being sat down and underwrote a file. Yes, they still do that, but they underwrite to the automated findings. They underwrite to the automated findings. If I'm any of you, I would encourage you to ask for the AUS or the DU approval prior or as early on in the process as possible. You want to see the findings. If you don't know how to read them, I'll help you understand how to read them. My point is this: in this scenario, this client was never run through the system. The reason this is so scary is because you have a listing that thought they were selling. You got a buyer that thought they were buying. You got a landlord that has you getting kicked out of the property. You've got a U-Haul truck that's packed. Everybody thinks they're getting paid and nothing's happening. They bring me in, 1-hour discussion. I go through everything with her. I set everything up. She sends me financials. She sends me everything I need, literally everything. One of my partners is the owner of a mortgage company. I go right to him. I said, I need you to drop what you're doing. This requires immediate attention. I have a client who's hysterical, needs to close. Now, we can't close alone in an hour. Can't do it. The law won't even allow it. We would have to go through a process. But at the very least, what we wanted to do was to get her through the system to provide a real approval. She was never even approved. Never. Not from day one. Paid for an appraisal, home inspection. She was never approved. The realtor didn't know enough to ask those questions. The listing agent assumed the approval letter, the pre-approval letter they got was sufficient. It wasn't. I share all of this with you guys to let you know the two things you probably should be asking for from the buyer's mortgage company: the AUS or the DU approval. You want to see those things as early in the process as possible. The pre-approval letter or the approval letter is toilet paper. It's tissue paper. I need to see that this was run through the automated system so that I have a valid buyer. Questions or thoughts about that, gang?
That's good to know. I actually, I knew the pre-approval is a thing, but when they go through the underwriting, I thought the underwriting was done at first, or the desktop underwriting was done in the beginning. So I guess maybe for the real estate agent, maybe they're new and they didn't understand that part. That the desktop underwriting is the first thing that they do with the on the lender side. But I'm glad that you mentioned getting a copy of that, because I didn't know to do that.
Now, here's what a lender will push back. I can't give that to you because it has buyer information on it. You can black out the buyer information. I don't want to see their social. I don't need to see that relevant information. What I need to see is at the top of the approval, maybe I'll show one to you guys. At the top of the approval, it actually says automated underwriting, desktop approval system, run through the Fannie Mae conventional system. It says all of those details. It says the address of the property. It says the purchase price. It says the down payment. It says the debt ratios. It's all there. You are allowed to see that. I show it to you. Here's something that's pretty powerful, gang. How many sellers have seen a buyer's approval? 0. They've seen the pre-approval letter, but they haven't seen the DU. How much better does that make you look? Because when and if this blows up, the seller is going to hold you responsible. Why didn't you find this out? And you're going to try and blame the buyer's realtor. Do as much as you can up front so that it protects your name, your brand, your paycheck, your client. By having that up front, you get to say to your seller, look at what I got. This is a strong buyer. They've already been through the automated underwriting system. They've already provided pay stubs, financials, employment information, assets. They give them everything. Here, we've got the real approval, not the pre-approval. You can get that up front. They can just black out the information that is pertinent to the buyer, but the information that is relevant to you and your seller to make you feel more comfortable in accepting this offer is that. So I would encourage you to get that. Ask for it. Bring it to your seller. Show them the lengths that you went. Nobody else does that, gang. So I always say invest more time up front so you do less time later. Now these realtors are scrambling. Title companies pissed off. Buyers crying. Listing seller is like, I can't believe this. They're naturally blaming the listing agent. How could you accept an approval from a company that didn't even get them approved? So everybody, it's just turmoil everywhere. I'm coming in like the white knight trying to help them. And look, this is what I sent out this morning.
I will look at it like the weight or the onus will lie on both sides. It's the buyer's agent just as well as the listing.
Yes, but each agent always blames the other.
Yeah, that's true.
So here's the text this morning, gang. I'm showing it to you. I sent it to her.
Let us know how that goes, Paul. I would love. I mean, I know you. I know for a fact you're gonna push through. So I just want to know the end of the story. I would like to know the buyer, their reaction once they get to the closing table.
Yeah. So what happened was the other lender called her Friday and said, we'll let you know Monday if we can close this loan. So I said, stay where you are because they're the only ones that can close it today. I have to go through the letter of the law. It's going to take me 8 to 9 business days to actually get you to the settlement table. If they can do it by Monday, stay there. If they can't, I'm ready to pick it up. So I text her at 8:55 a.m. I'm on standby. I'm attentive. I'm ready for you to give her that comfort that if they can't perform, Paulie will.
Wow. Let us know how that goes. That's very interesting.
I will. I use that as a talking feature for all of you to make sure from the listing and buyer side, that's information that you have the right to ask for. And the pushback you'll get is, we can't give that. Yes, you can. Yes, you can give it. All right,
That's an awesome learning curve. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. God bless you guys. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Paul.
See you next week.
All right.